Well, hey! Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Banjo-Kazooie! Last time we started the game off at Spiral Mountain. We even did the freaking tutorial. And a better tutorial, Mumbo's Mountain. And in today's episode, episode 2, we're starting off with my favorite level in the game, Treasure Trove Cove. We're going to have a lot to get here. So first, we want to rescue the blue Jinjo, not just because it's my favorite Jinjo, but because it's literally right there at the start. And watch out for that wise guy. I don't know if you caught him, but there's a shark in the water by the name of Chomper, I think? Or Snackers, I don't know, one of those. And Snackers rhymes with knackers. So hey, here's a little bit of British slang for you. Don't get knackered by Snacker, okay? Oh man, if you wonder what that means, well, why don't you ask your nearby British friend, huh? Because yeah, a lot of British humor in Banjo-Kazooie, but we love it, we really do. I like it personally, so. Okay, anyway, collecting all the items here. You want to start collecting red feathers, because in Treasure Trove Cove there are going to be 2 moves to learn. And they both involve pads. Probably not the pads you're thinking of, depending on your gender, but pads that are context sensitive and help you to perform certain actions, as it were. Yeah, let's not try to read too much into that. So yeah, but there's also going to be a lot more water stuff to do, not just with Treasure Trove Cove, but also with the other level that we will be doing later in this episode, because yes, we are doing 2 levels in this episode, just like last time around. Well, technically, yeah, I guess it was 2 levels. It was Spiral Mountain and Mumbo Mountain. Yeah, I know, 2 mountain levels back to back. That's kind of funny. So, yeah, thankfully we have the Talon Trot to make traversal around here and go by a good bit faster if we need to. It's not truly necessary, though, because Treasure Trove Cove is probably the first real level of the game, because Mumbo's Mountain is really short. Even when you're kind of slow and casual and take your time, it's not the biggest level in the world. And getting all the items in Treasure Trove Cove is also not that difficult, but there are a lot more enemies you gotta worry about, I can tell you that much. In fact, you may have seen a giant crab in a shell, probably called a hermit crab earlier, kind of greenish. We'll worry about that in a little while. Okay, yes, over here is going to be our first bottles of Treasure Trove Cove, and this molehill will teach us the... what is this called? The Shock Jump. That's a pretty good name. Shock Jump Spring. Yep. And Kazooie's in charge of that, as you can tell by the bird talon on the pad, as it were. Context sensitive. And of course, bottles will refuel your health every time, which is pretty nice. So this pad will take us to a Mumbo token. There are no animal transformations in Treasure Trove Cove, but the next time we do run into one, it's going to cost 10 tokens to do. So you want to start saving up now, as it were. Because, yeah, it's never too early to save up Mumbo tokens for transformations. Because every transformation will cost 5 more than the previous, which will eventually add up to a grand total of about 25, I want to say, for the final transformation we can reach in the game. So, yeah. And I will say, for the most part, while I do like the controls on Switch, I find that because of the differences in the stick sensitivity from the original N64 to the Switch, it can be a little annoying. It can be kind of an adjustment. But even with the adjustment in mind, it's really absurdly sensitive. So at times, it can even be a little game-breaking. And even if you've never played on the N64 and you're just playing this on Switch for the first time, you may notice that sensitivity, and it might be a little weird for you. Just letting you know, on original hardware, it wasn't quite as sensitive. Or, you know, but yeah. These are treasure chests with teeth on the rims, so you want to be careful there. But these treasure chests usually hide pretty important things. I think we can pass up on those feathers though. At least I'm pretty sure we can. I think we'll be good on that. Let's see. These feathers are pretty much free though. But I don't want to spend too much time collecting this since we are doing 2 levels in this episode. And both of these levels are going to be longer than Mumbo's Mountain. I would say Treasure Trove Cove, if you skip the tutorial in Spiral Mountain, I would say that Treasure Trove Cove itself is about as long as Mumbo's Mountain and non-tutorial Spiral Mountain combined. But obviously, with the tutorial in mind, Spiral Mountain kind of gets an edge, as it were. Okay, yeah, I think we're good. We want to fly down here. Be careful of snackers, or he's gonna knacker you. We gotta be careful of snackers in the water. There are still extra honeycombs to worry about, and the extra honeycombs in Treasure Trove Cove, one of them is a lot easier to find than the other, but they're both still rather tricky to find. And where we're going now is a fairly out-of-the-way Jiggy, actually. Right over here. So, we're still in the early game, so a lot of the Jiggies in these levels are going to be just out in the open to find, which is fine for the most part. As we progress, more of them will be gated behind missions, though, and they have a lot of layers to them, as it were. So here we have ladder steps of sorts. Getting the notes on the edge is a lot easier if you use the Talon Trot. Not completely necessary, but it does help a little bit. And in here we have 2 Mumbo tokens. Don't mind if we do, huh? But yeah, if you're a speedrunner, I think if you do the Talon Trot, you can try to jump out of the treasure chests. It's a lot harder than just doing a crouch jump, in my experience. Alright, so now we're on top of this structure from earlier. And there's a Jiggy down here that we can get. And when you get Jiggies underwater, you don't have to watch an animation. The Jiggy dance animation is really good, though. Like, I really enjoy it. But, yeah, it's not completely necessary. There's an extra life over there. I guess we can get it. Just for the sake of eventually getting to 9 lives, maybe. Although, it's possible some of these episodes will be like different sessions, which involves resetting the game, and every time you reset the game, it resets your life count as well, sadly. Oh, that's interesting. Was that... Oh, that was where the Jiggy was, I think. Oh, okay. So, there are some eggs to get here, but if you have 100, you don't need to get any more. And we've just about come full circle. Maybe the extra honeycomb is here somewhere? Like, under the water here somewhere? At least I seem to remember that being... Oh, look at that! There it is right there. Okay, so glad we can knock out one of the extra honeycombs. However, diving under the water isn't going to save you from Snackers the Shark. As we see. As I just got knackered by Snackers. Oh, well, we're over here. Let's say hello to Nipper. I think he's Nipper. Oh yeah, Nipper's Beach. So he's I'm pretty sure he's a hermit crab, but he's a pretty gangrenely looking hermit crab by the looks of it. So what you want to do is wait for him to finish pitching his fit, or getting knackered, or whatever expression is more appropriate for you, and jump and do the rat-a-tat-tat while he's exposed. Yeah, just 3 hits, you know, the usual for bosses. I say that, and this is sort of the first boss fight of the game. He's not terribly difficult. And you're probably wondering if there's going to be any other boss fights anytime soon. Banjo-Kazooie, you know, this first game, isn't really beholden to having a boss fight in every world. There may be a boss fight, but it's not exactly a given, I should say. I guess it's similar to Super Mario 64 in that vein, but I feel like almost every world in Super Mario 64 had a boss fight of some sort, even if some of them were not as obvious as others. Banjo-Kazooie, by comparison, I would say, is a lot more chill and relaxed with its boss encounters, as it were. Okay, so now that we're done with that, let's head towards the center here because there's actually a little bit going on over here, including one of my favorite characters in the series, Captain Blubber. Wait, was it Captain Blubber? Captain Blubbergut? Something like that. It's the pirate hippo. And he has one of my favorite voice clips. It's just a bunch of burps. But also when he says, oh, her. I know for a fact that he does that in Banjo-Tooie, but I don't think he says it as much in Banjo-Kazooie, unfortunately. So before we go up there, we can go in the ship proper by heading down here through the hull. Is it the hull or is it just like the brig? I don't know. There's a lot of different parts of the ship. And while I do like pirates, I may not be up to snuff on my nautical seafaring terms, as it were. But we want to enter there because we want to collect treasure. Because we want to bring the treasure to Captain Blubber. Because the treasure belongs to him, see? I don't know if he lost the treasure or if it got misplaced by Grunty, perhaps. You know, Grunty the Witch. Wouldn't be too surprising, to be honest. We probably don't need to do Talon Trot here, but we will just in case. And grab the feathers here because why not? And if we climb the pole, we will get taken to the green Jinjo. So only the yellow Jinjo remains. Yeah, the notes on the ropes. The notes on the ropes, you got to dig it. The notes on the ropes. We're gonna beak buster this specific plank of wood to take us into the other side of the ship. There's a Mumbo token here. We can try to grab that. And I just grabbed it. So now we're up to 7. We only need 3 more for the next animal transformation. It's still 2 levels off, though. So, not until the next time on Let's Play Banjo-Kazooie, of course. Calm down, guys. We are not ending the episode here. Seriously, what kind of self-respecting Let's Player would end an episode literally in the middle of a level? Like, who does that? It's a very bad habit to have, I would say. Alright, though, Captain Blubber's treasure has been restored. Arr, thank ye, me artist. Take this reward. I'm off to spin. The thing about it is, trying to get a pirate accent mixed in with a Scottish or Irish accent might be easier to do by mistake than you think. Alright, so let's head up here and, oh yeah, there's a Mumbo token right here. And fall damage. Can't forget about that. So we can climb the pole and get this easily. That's pretty good. It would be nice to leave Treasure Trove Cove with 10 tokens. At least, you know, just for the sake of it. Right, let's go ahead and talk to Bottles number 2 in here. This is your big chance, chicken legs. It's time to learn how to fly. But it's conditional. It's context sensitive. You gotta stick to the rare lore over here. And thankfully, Bottles will give you 25 red feathers to start you off, but you can collect more than 25 before you come here. So, if you collect at least 25 beforehand, you can have the maximum of 50 feathers, which is pretty nice. So, first we're going to fly over here, and yoop! We're just going to dive right into the Jiggy that's inside this treasure chest, why not? Alright, so now we want to try and get out of the treasure chest, because the hitbox on the teeth is a lot larger than you might think. That was probably just barely out of the fall damage range there. I would not be surprised. Okay. Now let's get back on the flight pad and let's head to the other side of where the treasure chest was, because this will take us to the upper areas of Treasure Trove, as it were. You'll find that attacks like this aren't going to do much damage at all, and it might take like 3 or 4 hits to kill an enemy by this point, or by that point. So, this attack, where you jump in the air and do the rat-a-tat-tat, that does the most damage of your arsenal, for the most part. Shooting eggs is pretty good too, but it's less about how much damage you do with the egg, rather it's the quantity of the eggs you shoot that make up the brunt of the work there. So we get the yellow Jinjo. It's fairly easy to track down to get our Jiggy by rescuing all 5 of them, of course. And the main focus of this area is to climb up the middle. which you want to make sure you have the shock spring pad ability. That should apparently help, but we come up here to get musical notes, and what? I would say an average completion time for casual in Treasure Trove Cove. And here's the witch switch, by the way. I would say like between 20 to 25 minutes would be pretty good. But yeah, that witch switch will get us a Jiggy at the Treasure Trove hub. Should be easy to knock that out on the way out, to be honest. The attack where you crouch and then do a beak stab, I would say it's the second strongest attack you can do. But again, this right here, that's going to be your bread and butter later on in Banjo-Kazooie. Especially during the last few levels, where the enemies are just unusually resilient, as it were. Okay, now we want to try and follow the red X, as it were. So I am curious about that shock spring pad, though, why it was placed where it was, and exactly what its purpose is. I'm actually really curious about that, matter of fact. Let's see if I can even reach it in the first place. It's kind of awkwardly placed. Yeah, I guess it's just a shortcut that you can use. It's not mandatory. It's just a nice little shortcut to have, I suppose. Okay, let's use the Talon Trot, because that's obviously going to be faster. And even if you're not speed running, speed can still be pretty good. It can save your life. So you can't really jump out of like if you jump while you're in Talon Trot mode, you can't really flip flap out of it, but you can rat-a-tat-tap out of it. So keep that in mind. So you might have remembered this red X I ground pounded a couple times reflexively. It's a lot easier to follow the trail when you have access to flight, as it were. Now, you can push the A button to increase your altitude when you're flying, but that uses up a red feather, so you'll have to keep that in mind with your supply while you're doing all that stuff. But let's keep following the trail and keep an eye out for any musical notes that might be laying around here. And this area, we actually want to stick around here for a little bit because we want to head over here and say hello to Leaky the Bucket. Yeah, he's just a bucket named Leaky. So what you want to do is you want to crouch and push C down, or whatever the equivalent is, and you want to fart the eggs into Leaky the Bucket. Kind of weird for me to say that, but yeah, you want to eject the eggs into him from behind, so yeah, take that for what you will. There are some notes on top of the sandcastle that we want to try and get to. If we can. Let's see. Yeah, it's looking like that's a barely right there. Barely, I would say. Let's head inside the sandcastle, matter of fact, because not only are there musical notes to find here, I think there's only like 4. Right here and right here, so we're going to have to track down the last 3. That shouldn't be too difficult to do. And our goal will be to spell out Banjo-Kazooie within 100 seconds, which actually isn't that hard to do. But keep the sandcastle in mind, because it may be pretty important if you're doing specific side quests later in the game, or if you're coming back for other reasons that we may be able to show off in the near future. Probably as soon as the next episode, probably. If not that, then the episode after. Because, yeah, the sandcastle holds a lot of secrets to it. Some of those secrets may be enticing to some of you, and that's fine. Anyways, once we complete the puzzle, we have to defeat this dark-looking crab over here. And this crab is pretty resilient, so consider that practice for the tougher enemies that you'll run into during the later part of the game, as it were. And we're actually almost done with the jiggies, funnily enough. We're just falling behind a bit on musical notes and the extra honeycomb. We still got to find the other extra honeycomb. I think I know where it is, though, so that's probably not going to be an issue too much. Let's head back over here to try and get back to the flight pad areas, as it were. Exactly how many musical notes do we have left? It's 3. So that seems like an amount that would be on one of these ridges, you would think, but you never know. So let's get on the flight pad and let's get on our merry way over here. To follow the path, keep an eye out for musical notes, of course, but we still want to follow the path for the most part. And there's going to be another X over here. Now there's a question mark. But there should also be an extra honeycomb around here somewhere. We may have to go back to the flight pad for that, which is probably going to be fine. And get that crab, and get this X. And then, can I rat-a-tat-tat this guy? Yep, there we go. Oh, there's a Mumbo token. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab that. Alright, that's going to be the final Jiggy. Let's check our totals, now that we have all the Jiggies. We're just missing 3 musical notes and 1 extra honeycomb, and we will be under 25 minutes. That's pretty good. Again, if. It's if. So yeah, let's get this token. You may not trigger Snacker, which is good if you do it like that. I am a little curious where I'd be missing the 3 musical notes, though. To be honest, because on the trees there would be 4 musical notes, like on a tree. So, oh! They're just right over there. Yeah, we can knock that out really quick. Yeah, I guess that's kind of out of the way, these 3 musical notes. Like, wow, yeah, we're just kind of sitting there. Okay, but we do want to go to the flight pad to get the extra honeycomb. I don't know if it's necessary, but it should make getting the extra honeycomb easier, more consistent. All very nice sounding words, whether you're a speedrunner or not. So, let's go ahead and just fly on over here. The extra honeycomb is on top of a box in the middle of the water. But, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's not necessary. Right over here. Yeah, it doesn't seem necessary to have to use the flight to get to it, but well, there we go. And I guess we'll just double check totals here, and yeah, we've 100% Treasure Cove in just about 22 minutes. So that's not half bad, if I do say so myself. So we are gonna, actually, to be honest, it might just be faster if I land on the ground and just Talon Trot back to the exit pad, as it were. Well, it's actually an entrance pad and an exit pad. Maybe you could call it a warp pad, but actually that's a term that's relevant in Banjo-Tooie. Because in Banjo-Tooie, the levels are so huge that they kind of require warp pads to make getting around them a lot easier for the player, as it were. So this is the cannon that shot the Jiggy for, the witch switch earlier. Can we just jump on the cannon with Talon Trot? Okay. I think we need to do a crouch jump here, though. Grunt, we peck him in the face, the rat-a-tat-tat. My favorite attack in the game, my good lord. And this is going to be the 3rd Jiggy for Grunty's Lair. Yeah. It's a bit out of sync because of that freebie Jiggy you get at the beginning. But, yeah, it's fine. Anyway, we took care of a lot of intermediary stuff in Grunty's Lair earlier in the last episode, so we're not really gonna have to mess with too much now. We're literally just gonna get straight to the point and just go next level. But we do have to unlock the painting for the next level, so we are gonna have to come back here where we did the Treasure Trove Cove painting. And now we can take advantage of the shock spring pad to jump over here and complete this puzzle. Push the Z button and bada bing bada boom. So this is going to be level 3, technically. And this is going to be the final level of the early game, in my opinion. Clanker's Cavern. It's a level that I remember struggling with as a kid, and I remember stopping at the level the very first time I played it. And then I didn't really touch the game again until I got Tooie. Thinking about it, that may not have been because of lack of interest or lack of motivation because of difficulty. It may have been because I was renting the game back in the day. And I think Tooie was a Christmas present because Kazooie released in like the summer, and then Tooie released closer to the holidays of the year 2000. So that definitely seems to line up better. In my memories, anyway. It would make sense logically. Anyways, welcome to Clanker's Cavern. This level, I'm not gonna lie, this level is kind of the pits. But I would say that of the first 3 levels, this is my least favorite. I would say it's my least favorite level in the game, to be honest. That said, though, it is a level that I've warmed up to over the years, and I don't necessarily dislike it anymore, but it's still not a particularly pleasurable level, as it were. I'm sure we can all at least agree on that much. Whether you enjoy the level from a gameplay perspective, like trying to get the movement down pat and all that, and I will say the layout is actually fairly simple once we get to the meat and potatoes of it, and we still don't have to worry about animal transformations or anything, but yeah. Anyway, there is one bottles here that's fairly well hidden. It's going to be kind of hard to track down, actually. But he will teach us, like, one of the best abilities in the game besides the Talon Tribe. It's actually accessed in a very similar manner, too, which is a kind of funny coincidence how that works out. So, Clanker's Cavern, I would say, is another level like Treasure Trove Cove, where it would probably take you about 20 to 25 minutes to 100% at a fairly brisk pace, casually. But, it wouldn't be surprising if it takes more than 25 minutes, especially if you wind up dying a couple of times, which can be possible, because there's a lot more focus on underwater stuff in Clanker's Cavern, which means this might be the first level where there's a chance you may actually drown. And you gotta be careful about that, because you only ever have 6 units of health for the underwater. So say hello to the eponymous Clanker, who is apparently the witch's garbage grinder. And Clanker doesn't like dirty water, he wants fresh air. Because apparently Clanker might be, like, part organic and part mechanical. It's kind of weird how he's designed. But assumingly he works for Grunty in a way. And you gotta feel sorry for the guy just being in this dirty water and being a garbage disposal. I mean, I don't think any living creature deserves a fate such as that. That just seems obscenely cruel to me. But at any rate, this is the central area of Clanker's Cavern pretty much. What we were just in was something of the entrance area, I would say. Okay, so there's the blue Jinjo over here. So far so good. So we got yellow earlier and we got blue just now. Don't be afraid to go to the surface of the water as much as you can. Okay? Because if you don't, your air will run out, and it's pretty easy to be forgetful about that sort of thing, in my experience anyway. But yeah, keep an eye on the tunnels, or not tunnel, but like these pipes underwater, because some of them have items. One of them in particular, I think it's this one right here, is going to have like a lot of musical notes, and the camera can also be quite uncooperative at times. And don't forget that you can alternate between a strong swim with the B button or a slower but more controlled swim with the A button. That's done with Banjo, while the strong swim is done with Kazooie's wings, as it were. Pretty interesting dynamic there, I think. Alright, and these enemies that pop out of the walls, if you just do a premature rat-a-tat-tat, you can usually take care of that pretty well. Alright, so we want to head under here to this pipe. This pipe specifically. We want to try to get in it because there should be an extra honeycomb here. There we go. One of the most well-hidden honeycombs, extra honeycombs in the entire game, in my honest opinion. Okay, so now we took care of that. Let's see if we can head over here, actually, and try to knock out more stuff before we have to talk to or deal with Clanker proper, as it were. Shock spring pad is useful. Okay, it's going to take us here and to this pipe, which has musical notes on it, which is a pretty good indicator that there might be some stuff up here to collect in a collect-a-thon game. Shock and surprise. Okay, actually, there's just a Mumbo token there, but we can see areas up here that seem inaccessible at first, but actually, what we want to do is we want to try and actually raise up Clanker a bit, because if we do that, then Clanker himself can inadvertently help us reach higher areas, as it were. Okay, so we want to beat Buster this grate, which will take us to a fairly well-hidden orange Jinjo. use Talontrot here, not necessarily because you have to, but it helps to prevent you from slipping and falling here. And let's get to this grate. So this might have the other extra honeycomb, actually. Yes, it does. Alright, so there seems to be a pattern with the extra honeycombs in this level that they're hidden inside of pipe-like structures, as it were. Okay, and this tunnel is glowing really green. So this should take us to a Jiggy. To get this Jiggy, we are going to have to defeat some mutant crabs over here. And that's easier said than done. Try your best to do like a short hop rat-a-tat-tat by lightly pressing the A button and then immediately pushing the B button. Probably easier said than done. It's the kind of technique that requires finesse and practice, let me tell you. So, I think we defeat 4 of these guys. Oh, God. You know what? When all else fails, maybe I should just beatbuster them. I don't know. That might help a lot. Alright, Snippet Mutants, apparently is what they're called. Okie dokie. Artichokey, whatever you want to call yourselves. Alright, let's make sure we get all the musical notes here, because of all the things you want to be missing out on, and musical notes probably ain't one of those. I'm just going to be perfectly honest there. But, yeah, let's walk along the pipe and get the Jiggy. So this should be the first proper Jiggy, even though we've made pretty good progress on the Jinjo Jiggy, as it were. So, again, we have to go back to the central Clanker's Cavern area. There should be another Jiggy, actually, in one of the tunnels. I kind of want to track it down before I forget about it. It might actually be that tunnel over there. So, let's go to the surface of the water, head down here, and see what lies in here. Yeah, this might be the tunnel to the Jiggy. So you want to spam the B button for the strong swim, because this is a long tunnel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the tunnel to the Jiggy. Yep. So, in a speedrun, 100% speedrun, I'm pretty sure, you want that to be the last Jiggy you get, because of the time it takes to get to it, and the likelihood of you drowning by the time you get to it. Because when you drown, you'll lose a life, and when you lose a life, you'll respawn back at the entrance pad, as it were. So it's a pretty fast way to get back to Grunty's lair proper, as it were. Okay, I think that actually catches us up nicely in terms of, like, what's inside of the tunnels and whatnot. I do see an orange tunnel over there, but I think that might have been where the Jinjo was not too long ago. I think it might still be a good idea to double check, though. Yeah, the orange tunnel. Oh yeah, there's a Mumbo token here. I mean, hey, we'll take it. But yeah, I'm definitely very suspicious of the tunnels in the central Clanker's Cavern area. Yeah. Okay, so now we want to surface again, because I believe now is going to be a good time to try and raise up Clanker from his grave of sorts. I mean, poor guy. These enemies are really annoying. Like, I'm telling you. A lot of annoying enemies in the game, really. Oh, by the way, when you get 6 extra honeycombs, you get extra health, and now we have 7 health units. That's pretty good. I know, Clanker. You're looking at us. We're gonna try and put you out of your misery. Or free him of his misery might be a more accurate term here. Matter of fact, out of paranoia, let's go ahead and create a state here in case of drowning. Not necessarily to try and make the game brain dead easy, because a challenge is good sometimes. It's mostly for the sake of the pacing of the Let's Play, to not have to worry about deaths and respawning and then have to recollect everything, the notes in particular, you know. That's just kind of annoying, and I don't think anybody wants to see that, you know. Seeing footage you've already seen. It's just kind of repetitive. Right. So this is Gloop the fish, who's going to be swimming around here, and he will be producing air bubbles for you to be able to stay down here longer, because we are going to be down here a little while, not just to collect all the notes, although we do want to collect all the notes and try to get the air bubbles. And there's a green Jinjo right here. So yeah, let's get that guy. If you're wondering where the pink Jinjo is, don't worry. I know exactly where it is. Well, not exact. I just know the general area. It's inside Clanker. For some reason, Clanker decided to have like a dinner with the Jinjo, as it were. Thankfully, Gloop is pretty good about producing the air bubbles. So just make sure that you, as the player, are on top of that. And swim through this key 3 times. Yeah, there we go. You don't even have to do a hard swim through. You can just do a soft swim and you'll be fine. So yeah, we swim through the key 3 times, and Clanker will be freed to an extent. At least enough to where he can breathe in the clean air, you know? And of course you'd get a Jiggy for your trouble there. I mean, it only makes sense. So I think as long as you have like 3 or 4 units of air by the time you start swimming back up, you should be fine. Maybe even 2 or 3. I don't know. It just depends. So let's keep going up here, and bada bing, bada boom. Alright, so Clanker's fins can help you get to areas, but also Clanker's body in general can get you places, including musical notes, as it were. But yeah, there are a lot of aspects to Clanker's body that can help you get to other areas. And I think we're going to start with his tail, since that's pretty much one of the simpler ones to understand. But yeah, first let's get this Jiggy. That should bring us up to 3. Alright, we'll be pretty good there. We're pretty much almost done with the Jinjo Jiggy as well. Be very careful with your movement on the edge of Clanker's tail, because it's moving back and forth at a fairly fast pace. Not too fast, but probably fast enough. And there's feathers there. To open that gate over there, you have to shoot eggs at it, I think. You can either shoot eggs at it or hit it with a rat-a-tat-tat. Hitting it with the eggs might be a little easier. So yeah, that's going to be the 4th Jiggy. Let's try to jump down to the pipes over here. I'm not sure if this is the only way you can get to these pipes, but it does seem like the easiest way, at least. And I think that's exactly where the extra honeycomb was. So maybe it is possible to jump from there to here, but obviously you have to jump down. You have to bust down the grate to get the extra honeycomb anyway. So okay, I think we've reached the natural end of that. So let's reconvene back at Clanker's, because Clanker himself has collectibles inside of him. So we actually do need to get inside of his body one way or the other. There's actually 2 ways to do this. One is to enter the blowhole, which you can enter after this bolt flies off. So he's got like whale parts to him with the blowhole and whatnot. Whales have blowholes because they're technically mammals. So while they do like to be underwater, they have a blowhole because they need the surface to the water every so often in order to breathe in oxygen, because they are still technically mammals, funnily enough. Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works out. This Jiggy is basically on the other side of the one we got earlier that was behind a grate. So that's pretty interesting. And I think this is pretty much everything outside of Clanker. Pretty much. If I'm not mistaken, although I do see some areas over there, matter of fact, which look pretty interesting to me. So let's head over here, and then I want to head over here, actually. Like, over here specifically. And did we get this enemy down here? No, yeah, we didn't. So I think this area is worth investigating. Yeah, there's a shock spring pad here. Oh yeah, there's definitely got to be good stuff here. Like musical notes. I'm so glad I didn't miss these. Alright, and I think I want to state here just, again, not to make it brain dead easy, but to make it more convenient, pacing-wise, for me and you guys viewing. So basically for the player and the viewer. So that leads naturally to an extra life, and that's seems to be pretty much it. Just a few musical notes for the most part. Fairly underwhelming, but we want to get on this platform right here, and we want to get the camera in a favorable position, or at least as favorable as we can get it, as it were. And you want to start shooting eggs in this direction to try and get at Clanker's tooth. Yeah, we want to get in the tooth. or in his mouth, as it were. And we get a Jiggy for breaking down his one tooth. Funny enough. I guess the idea is that it's a golden tooth. So maybe the Jiggy was inside the golden tooth. That's quite a visual, I must say. Imagine having a gold nugget stuck in your teeth. And, I mean, trying to get it out is like really painful. But if you can get it out and sell it for money, I mean, it's probably worth a lot of money. I don't know how we get that token. I guess we have to jump from the tooth, but it is what it is. We don't really need that token anyway, because while you only need about 75 Mumbo tokens in total, if I'm not mistaken, there are a lot more than 75 to find in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like 100 tokens to find in total. I don't know if it's that much, but it's probably somewhere around like 90 or so. It's a lot of Mumbo tokens, so you're not going to have to worry about being short on those too much, I don't think. Anyway, in Clanker's belly, at least I assume it's his stomach or his belly or whatever, we need to jump through hoops, literally. We have to jump through hoops that are colored green because they go from blue to green when we need to actually go through them. It's funny because I think they reuse these hoops in some minigames in Banjo-Kazooie, which is a game full of minigames, let me tell you. So, I think we're going to have plenty of time to go through this last hoop. Be careful of the tendrils, though. Those can be pretty annoying. Alright, so by doing all of that, we raise the water level in this area. But we also, at least I think, we get access to this Jiggy. Yeah, we should. There we go. This is going to be Jiggy number 7. Okay. So now we want to, there's actually 2 different exits we can go through here. And some gold feathers. You might want to keep a pin note on those gold feathers, because the move we learned from Bottles here is going to be relevant to those feathers, as it were. So we want to come over here, because this is where the last Jinjo is. And yeah, you swim into the last Jinjo and you get Jiggy number 8, as it were. Hopefully I don't get stuck there. Like, wow. I don't know, that was pretty clutch. Okay, so now we can go ahead and head back. And the reason we want to head back is we want to head to the other side. And I think this is how we're going to want to exit, because now what we're going to want to do is we want to get on top of Clanker, and we want to enter into his body through his blowhole. I know that sounds very, very weird, but trust me, that type of humor is actually in line with the developers of Banjo-Kazooie and their preferred sense of humor. Again, the developers at Rare, they can be quite frisky, for lack of a better word. And we love them all. We love them all the more for it, let me tell you. Not just because of their sense of humor, but their talent making these games on the Nintendo 64, man. I'm telling you. Alright, so by doing that, we have access to the Witch Switch, which is the main thing we wanted here. And, actually, you know what? I think I may have done this a little bit out of order. So, let's go through here, back to where, like, the tooth was, funny enough. Maybe we could have gotten the Mumbo token that way? But at any rate, I think what I want to look for is actually a flight pad somewhere around here. Because we want the flight pad to be able to fly. Yes, because this should help us learn the new ability, as it were. I almost spoiled the name, gosh darn it. Alright, again, watch out for the tendrils. They are numerous and all over the place. Shouldn't take you more than a feather or 2 to get the ascension you need to get up here. And this is where we learn the Wonder Wing. Oh, hold up. The Wonder Wing from Bottles. This ability essentially makes you invincible. For the most part. It's obviously not going to save you from falling into a bottomless pit. Or drowning. But if it's on the ground, it'll probably make you invincible to it. Probably. At any rate, you push the C button opposite of the Talon Trot in order to unlock this. And you carry a maximum of 10, and Bottles will give you 5 to start off with when you reach him. So, yeah, just down, crouch, and Z right. Easy does it. Let's get the last note and get this Jiggy. Obviously, there's going to be another Jiggy in that area we were just at, and that should be the final Jiggy. Let's check our statistics, though. 95, yeah, should be 5 notes, 1 Jiggy, and we should be good over there. I will say the window of opportunity for that is a little limited. And we already got the witch switch, as it were. Actually, it doesn't seem like all these fan blades are going that fast. So maybe I kind of jumped the gun a bit there. Or not. Let's just forego it. Get the last musical note and the last Jiggy, and that takes care of Clinker's Cavern and Treasure Trove Cove, ladies and gentlemen. Both finished in about 20 minutes apiece. Alright, so let's properly exit Clanker and give him a send-off, as it were. I actually dropped us off at the flight pad. That's actually surprisingly convenient. But the Wonder Wing makes that section easier, but not impossible. Okay, so we are actually going to go ahead and double-check our totals here. 100% in Clanker, 100% Treasure Trove Cove, both at roughly the same amount of time, which is good. Treasure Trove Cove definitely feels a lot more open, though, so that's what that's worth. So we're going to save and quit, and I will see you guys next time on Let's Play Banjo-Kazooie when we move on to the 4th world, which I accidentally spoiled in the last episode. It's Bubble Loop Swamp. We're pretty much going to be doing that, but we're also going to be doing a lot of Grunty's Lair stuff, so if you're worried about the length not being long enough, I don't think you need to worry too much about that, so see you guys then.